Hello creators, it's Melissa from Melissa's Creations. Today I have a fun shaker card for you made from the Honeybee bundle in the mini catalog. I am so excited about this card. I first saw it from fellow demonstrator Sandra Budd. I'll leave her information down in the description box below. She has a tutorial in German, but I wanted to make one for myself and share it with all of you guys. It's such a beautiful card, and I start by stamping the bees with StazOn ink. And I'm using the StazOn because I'm coloring it in with the Stampin' markers, which are water-based. If you wanted to stamp these and color in with your Stampin' blends, I would recommend that you use our other ink, Memento, because that works best with the alcohol-based markers. I'm using the Daffodil Delight Stampin' marker to color in the bees, and I love the shading on the bee wings. That's just how the stamp stamps, so it's perfect for this beautiful little image. I love how Stampin' Up! Has made those images. Next up, I'm going to cut the honeycombs out. Now I'm going to cut it out of a piece of the Daffodil Delight cardstock. And then I'm also going to cut it out of a piece of cardstock Whisper White that measures 3 3/4 by 5. You can find all the measurements for this card on my blog, MKre8tions.com, and I have linked the specific blog post down in the description box below. I'm also cutting out one of each of the bees, and I did stamp a couple extra bees because I like to have a little extra when I'm doing my cards. That way that I can make another card and just whip it out really quickly without having to get all of my supplies out again the next time I want to make a similar card. So once I have run both of those honeycombs through, I'm going to get a standard cardstock base and fold it in half. And then I'm going to also get out a piece of the acetate window sheet so that I can use that for the shaker card portion. So now I'm just adhering to the back side of my card mat that I've cut the little honeycomb out of, and I'm going to adhere the acetate to the wrong side of that sheet, and I apologize, it's a little out of frame here. I turned it over, and now I'm using some of the Tombow liquid glue to adhere the yellow honeycomb, and this is an inlay technique. So I'm taking the honeycomb die that I cut out of yellow, and I am inlaying it over the acetate sheet on the white card mat that I cut out. So you'll see here that it fits in to that cutout like a little puzzle piece. And inlays are really great because you get kind of a different texture in one layer, and you can tell that it's an inlay, but it is on the same plane. So when you run your hands across it, it feels like it's kind of one piece, which is kind of nice. Next up, I'm going to take some dimensionals on the back side of my honeybees, and I'm going to adhere those to the card front. And I'm keeping a similar theme as Sandra did on her card. I'm putting the larger bead down farther on the honeycomb, and again, I apologize, it's out of frame. You'll be able to see it here in just a second. And I put the smaller bee up in the right-hand corner. Now on the back side of that piece with the acetate, I'm using our dimensional strips, and first of all, you want to put it on a piece of cardstock, and I'm using yellow because this is going to be the background and what creates the shaker portion of our card. So I'm using those foam strips, and I'm just putting it in a square all the way around this yellow piece of cardstock. And it doesn't have to be a particular size, it just has to cover enough area of that honeycomb so that you don't see white or your background behind the honeycomb when you stick it on. So I have made a full square, and I'm going to be putting my sequins inside that square. So I'm taking off the backing here, and I'm going to be using the Celebration sequins that come in the metallic Baker's Twine and Sequins combo pack. And those are an item that are free with a $50 purchase during Celebration. So I'm putting those sequins into that little square, and then I'm going to take my card with the honeybees and the honeycomb, and I'm just going to glue that right on top. And then I'm also going to use those strips to pop up the rest of the card onto my card base. So I am going to go around the card perimeter, and then on the yellow cardstock, since it's already raised, I'm just going to put some snail on that portion, and then I'll be able to adhere it down to my card. Next up, I'm going to be stamping with Versamark on some basic black cardstock, my sentiment. I've chosen the Thinking of You, Sweet Friend, and I'm going to stamp this twice just in case one of them doesn't cut out well or doesn't emboss well. So I'm taking my Whisper White Stampin' Emboss powder, and I'm flicking the excess off here. And then I'm going to use my heat tool, and I'm going to heat that up and emboss it. And I really think that this black background with the white embossed writing really stands out nicely on this card. It has that pop of yellow with those beautiful colored sequins behind it, and the black just really stands out and makes this card pop. So I think it's important to use a dark color cardstock for your sentiment. And here I am just cutting them apart, and I was able to use one stamp and cut it out like this, and it worked really well. If you don't want it to be as close as I've cut mine out, you might want to try doing two, or you can also try masking part of the stamp before you stamp each line. That way you can make it a little bit spaced out, but I thought that it came out really well, and I was fine with it being cut close to the words. And now I'm just going to take some mini dimensionals, and I'm going to adhere those onto the card. And I'm going to put the Thinking of You at an angle towards the top of the honeycomb, and the Sweet Friend at an angle, the opposite angle, down a little farther. You can really place them where you'd like, but I really like how they are across the honeycomb. I think it looks really nice, and it doesn't cover up too much of the shaker portion. And that's it. That's how simple this beautiful little shaker card is. I really hope that you guys enjoy this project, and check out Sandra's links below. That's the inspiration that I got to make this card. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give the video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and visit my social media. You can find all of the links in the description box below or online at MKre8tions.com. Bye!